Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Dunbar Snack Bar. It's time for some MLB The Show 23 and a Road to the Show series with Tex Ransom. The last couple games for Tex really haven't been too great. I ended up going 1 for 4 in one game and 0 for 4 in another, which did represent the first game that he's had at the AA level without getting a hit. So I'm not going to be too disappointed with that because these types of games are going to happen, especially as we get to the AAA and the Major League level. But still, figure that'd be kind of important to point out. Got a dynamic challenge right here. We'll go with probably the contact swing to advance a runner since we've got somebody on first. I know that kind of represents a possibility here for a double play, but yeah, we'll still go for it. Anyway, we're back on the road here, starting a new series. And I think Tex is pretty happy to kind of get away from some of the criticism a little bit, though it has really died down. You take a look at where he's at as far as his statistics, things like batting average, stolen base, or the number of stolen bases that he has, things like that. Oh, we were able to get the challenge. Sweet. Get the runner on over to third, too. So I should get a little bit of a boost here for getting the runner in scoring position. So hopefully that'll kind of show up as well. Anyway, with the way that Tex is really leading the team right now in a lot of these statistics and everything, it kind of puts him into a position where there's not much criticism that people can give to him about his on-field performance. Here I go, trying to steal. Again, a bad steal jump. I feel like, I don't know, that might be a lot tighter timeline than it should be. But that is stolen base number 12 for him, as you've seen. And stealing bases has become a lot more difficult, too. Many times we're seeing 3, 4, even 5 attempts to try and pick me off per at-bat. And a lot of times they're going with quick pitches. So I think there was one stolen base attempt, too, that didn't end up going my way. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, we're good. Well, he's safe at home. My thought was, if I could go ahead and maybe try and distract him, try to get him worried about me, that's going to allow the run to score. But I didn't think I was going to be going that far before I turned back. Trying to go for third, and we're safe again. That's stolen base number 13 now. Once again, find myself 90 feet away from home, but we've got 2 outs here, so it's got to be a base hit for me to come home. It's not like it's a sacrifice or anything like that. That'll kind of bring me in full count. I'm going to call a strikeout right here. And, yep, called it. Seeing a lot of those. A lot of strikeouts when I am on the bases. So, okay. At least we're up 1-0 here in the top of the first. Obviously, we're going to be seeing this go a little bit later. We're in the third. It is still 1-0 and nobody out. So I kind of wanted to take some time here for this particular game just to kind of do a little bit of a review on how things have been going this first little bit here of trying to come back into everything. And I would really love to hear what your guys' take is on how things have kind of been going here from a quality standpoint of the episodes that I'm making and things like that. Because, yes, it has been a long time since I've been producing this type of content. And I've tried to be very conscious on how I was making this. So, one of the things that I did in the past, and while it was nice for me, I think it was really bad for YouTube, is I was just doing a lot of different stuff when it came to the games that I was playing, the series that I was trying to do. I go back and I take a look, what I was doing, 8, 9, 10 years ago, even more than that. And it was a lot. I'd have 2 Road to the Shows. I'd have, franchise going. I'd try to do a little Diamond Dynasty in there. And then once it got to the point where, we were looking at the fall, it was time to get the new games. Madden, for example. I don't think that was necessarily fall, but you'd have NBA 2K and stuff like that. NCAA football was another one trying to go on. So I'm kind of at the point here right now where I'm I got to make sure that I'm focused on one type of thing. And I know my player is not necessarily the thing that is, kind of the bread and butter content for what I used to make way back in the day. I think what was some of the most enjoyable stuff was doing franchise, and I think I might get to that at some point, but this is really easier right now, at least for me from a time standpoint, to make sure that I'm producing content regularly. There's some things that I'd have to do, I think, before I got to do a franchise again, and maybe that's like a next year type of thing or something, if I can make sure that I keep going with this. I should say, too, I've got some pretty low expectations for what we're going to be seeing as far as like the view count and things like that. So I'm not necessarily too driven by what's going to be the highest bit of numbers. I know that the frequency of posting needs to get back to a place where the algorithm is going to be kind to me. Again, that's going to take some time. So I'd really be interested in your guys' feedback and stuff. And I think, I've gotten some pretty good stuff so far. A lot of interest in like an A's franchise and stuff like that. I don't know if it's a little too late to be starting something like that here at this point, but and I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different this go around too, like making sure that we're incorporating a story into stuff, because I think that's going to be one thing that'll kind of make me a little bit different from everybody else as far as producing MLB The Show content. Sorry. I know a lot of the stuff that I used to be able to do back in the day is not the type of content that's like, the big stuff right now in the show. And I question whether or not I'd be able to do a lot of that stuff. Given how long it's been since I've been away from the game and stuff like that, I'm not like an epic player of this game. I will 100% admit that. But it's like if I could do something cool and have a story go with it, like that's kind of what I want to do. So that's why I'm doing like a TikTok and a YouTube short thing to try and summarize what happens in game and add some cool stuff to it too. So I think that's kind of the thing that I would like to get feedback on from you guys is how do you enjoy that type of content, where there's a story to this, where it's not just, hey, here's game number 1, here's game number 2. You've got things that are going on behind the scenes that kind of tie this stuff together. And the gameplay just kind of supports that overall story. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think about that. Those of you who are watching these pretty regularly, I'd be kind of curious to see what you guys think. Anyway, that was going to be the big topic of this one. Bottom of the 7th, runners on first and second. We've had a few fielding opportunities for Tech so far this game. This is going to be another one that goes pretty well for me. We're up 5-3. And I think we're going to make it here maybe close to the end of the game. Or it might actually be the end of the game. I don't know. Maybe I'll have one more at bat. Nope, that is going to be it here. So I know I spent a lot of time talking about just some stuff other than what's going on, but I still hope you guys enjoyed this game. Still had some pretty good things happening here for Tex, getting a couple hits, some stolen bases, stuff like that as well, and getting that dynamic challenge. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate it. More to come. So until next time, you guys are awesome. Thanks for watching.